Hi everyone, I am Bhargavi Trivedi and in this video I will explain regarding stirred tank bioreactors. Almost all the basic concepts of the stirred tank bioreactor will be clear. So even if you don't know the ABCD of the bioreactor, please watch the video. At least you can learn a bit about the topic. This is the part of paper BT 302 Biochemical Engineering Unit 1 Bioreactor Design Semester 5. So let's get started. Now, before explaining you the stir tank bioreactor, which are the one of the type of the bioreactor out of many bioreactors, let's understand what is bioreactor. Now, you can see in this figure big building like reactors. You have seen it while you had the industrial visit or you were going to some journey, you have seen this, right? So this long building like dome shape, like they are the bioreactors. Okay. So now, what actually is their purpose? So the main purpose from the biological point of view is that it provides a suitable conditions, suitable control conditions, and that conditions are aseptic in nature. Okay, aseptic means whatever the microorganisms you have inoculated, they are only going to work over there. No other outside microorganisms can grow in there and can change the conditions. Okay, for example, what do you understand by this aseptic word? It's like you are using yeast for the production of ethanol. Okay, you are using yeast for the production of ethanol from glucose. So in these big bioreactors, in the aseptic conditions, only that yeast strains will be working efficiently, so that it will be producing glucose from the bioethanol, and everything will be under controlled conditions. Okay, what do you understand by the word control conditions? That means pH will be as favorable to your yeast to grow. The temperature will be as favorable to your yeast to grow, and many such more parameters will be there. Okay, so what will happen actually that not only you can use the microorganisms, but you can also use plant cells, you can also use animal cells or human cells. Okay, for making any product. Okay, now the glucose that you have given over here, it will be considered as a raw material. Okay, so for other products that you want, the raw materials can change accordingly. Now, why you need bioreactor? Okay, the first of all, you have understand that it maintains the aseptic conditions, plus it is providing specific environment growth for the cells. Okay, the conditions will be in such a way that it will be favorable, it will be uh, more suitable for the microbial strain that is working for the production of a particular product. They will be happily growing over there in those environments. I hope the main concept of bioreactor is clear. Now let's talk about the stirred tank reactor. But before that, let's understand what is the shape of the bioreactor. Okay. Now stirred tank reactor, we are coming to the shape, but stirred, that means mixing. Okay. The mixing that you do at your home. Okay. So for example, if you want to make a milkshake, then you are going to use the blender for the mixing process. Same way you have to imagine, but we will go there one by one. Okay, so first we will take up the shape of the stirred tank bioreactor. Now please remember, I have explained you there are many different types of bioreactors, are there tower reactor, like that reactor and all. We are learning stirred tank reactor, so every reactor has its different shape. So let's talk about the stirred tank reactor. It will be either cylindrical or it will be have a curve base. So you can see this is the cylindrical or curved cylindrical, or you can say that the base is curved shape. Okay. Now why so? Because it assists in the mixing of the reactor contents. The curved shape helps in mixing. If the shape is flat, the cells get settled down. Okay, that's why we prefer the curved shape, so that the mixing is properly taking place. Now I want to introduce you one concept over here, that is of the head space. The head space means what? This is the entire bioreactor you are saying it over here. You cannot pull the raw material and the microorganism strain till here. Okay, otherwise it will touch the upper surface of the lid and it will lead to the contamination. Okay, so they have given you the concept of the head space. That For example, if let's say this is the height, total height of the reactor, so whatever the working space will be this, and this space should be left uh, without filling it. Okay, why it is so? We will learn it because let's say microorganisms they are releasing gas, so the gas gets accumulated over here. Sometimes there is a foam formation taking place. Okay, so if it is already touching the top, then it will lead to the leaking of the foam from the bioreactor, which can again lead to the contamination and the loss of the product. Okay, and basically it is uh, increasing the cost of the fermentation. That's why it is said like so. Now, let's see what are the main components of the bioreactor system. Now, you know, we have seen the main parts of the bioreactors in our previous video. If you have not watched that, then I request you to please watch that video. But we are seeing the main parts. One is the agitator system. Now, you know, stir, the word stir itself says that you have to blend something. So, you have to agitate something. That's why you will need the agitator system. Okay, then you will need the oxygen delivery system because the organism, let's say some organisms are aerobic in nature. So if they want to convert into a certain product, substrate into the product, they will require the oxygen. Okay, the stirring. So we will see in detail. Then a foam control system, a temperature control system, pH control system, sampling ports, the why you require sampling ports because they will check that after 24 hours the product is forming or not, whatever the expected results they are getting or not. Okay, because what happens sometimes, let's say if the product is not forming and if they have done the sampling, then they can pause the reactor for some time and they can resume it again. A cleaning and sterilization system, a slump and dump line for emptying of the reactor. So now let's understand each and every system in detail. Uh, Here the main thing that you have to remember is the impeller, shaft, baffles and sparger. We will come to it in next slide. Okay, you can see this is a typical diagram of our stir tank reactor, and let's understand the function of each reactor. Let's understand the first function of our agitator system. Now, agitator, so it is connected with the drive motor. Okay, the one which is going to provide the uh, electricity, the driving force, the rotational force to the agitator. Okay. Now, there is also one thing that is associated with it. It is the tachometer. Okay, tachometer is something that controls the speed of the rotor. Now here you have to learn one thing over here, that this is the one which is known as shaft, which is known as shaft. On the shaft there are impellers that are supported. Okay, you can see these impeller blades. Now these are the impellers. So there are different types of impellers that are available, and these are the blades of the impeller. Okay, so they are going to rotate. When they rotate, the mixing is going to take place. Okay, so I again repeat, these are the impellers and this is the shaft. Okay, then you have something that is known as baffles. What do you understand by the word baffle? Can you see this in this diagram? This one, I mean, this one. So this is what this is termed as baffle, the side support. So actually, they are support, but whenever the rotation is taking place, you know the foam takes place. Okay, as you have done at your home in the buttermilk cake. So more you rotate it, the more foam takes place. So what happens? The baffles that are there, they are going to break that foam formation, the break that vortex formation, the excessive vortex formation that is taking place. Okay, I hope it is clear till here. Now, let's talk regarding the impeller speed. Now what happens, I have taught you regarding the tachometer, one that controls the speed. So what happens if there is slow impeller speed, then the bubbles will not be sheared into small bubbles. From here, there is a sparger associated with it. We are coming to that. That means the oxygen system. Okay, let me show you the oxygen system. Can you see that these are the bubbles that are coming up? Okay, that is known as sparger from which the bubbles can come up. The one you have seen in the aquarium. When you see the aquarium at your home, you see that the little chip like little nozzle like structure from which the bubbles come up. Now, as you have seen these impellers, they are going to rotate. Okay, so as soon as the bubble will come up, this is a big bubble that will come up. It is going to hit it. Okay, and it is going to break into many small bubbles. So that it can rise up entirely, because the surface area of small bubbles is more as compared to the surface area of the big bubble, and the bubbles carries the oxygen. Please remember. So lighter, smaller and lighter the bubbles, they can go more up. So all the organisms of the entire bioreactor will get the oxygen. That is the main concept behind it. Now, who is going to break it? The impellers that are rotating, they are going to break it. And because of this continuous rotations, the vortex is getting generated. The foam bubbles, excessive vortex is getting generated, and it is stopped by this that we have seen that it is known as vessels. Okay, that's why the impeller speed is very important to break down. And again, I repeat, it is controlled by tachometer. Please remember this word. Okay, now let's move to the next slide. Oxygen system. So when you talk about the oxygen system, then you will need a compressor. The oxygen is supplied to it. The inlet air filter, you need to purify the air sparger through which the oxygen is going to come out, and the exit air filter. Okay, so these are the main components of that. Now, the air sparger used to break the incoming air into the small air bubbles, because the oxygen comes with high pressure. Okay, so there are so many different spargers uh, types are available, which we have again discussed in one more video. But please go through it also. Then, as we have seen that it is broken down by the impeller blade and all, so it can lead to the uniform and homogeneous environment throughout the bioreactor. They are going to get mixed, which will result into the homogeneous and the clear environment throughout the bubble. Now, as you have seen, I talked regarding the foam formation, as you can see it over here. Okay, so the foam formation is again the essential element, because what happens if the foam is not controlled, then it can block the air exit filter, and it can lead in the pressure generation. So it can sometimes lead to the blasting the bioreactors. Now you are nowadays you are hearing about the blast in the reactors, and also it is one of the reasons for it. The uh, foam formation is controlled by addition of the anti-foaming agents based on silicon or the vegetable oils. But however, you have to take care one thing, that if you are going to add excessive foams, then it can result into the poor oxygen transfer rate, and it can result into the less formation or sometimes no formation of our product. Because remember, if the poor oxygen rates are there, then our organisms which are aerobic in nature, they are not going to convert the product with efficiency. Okay, the next system is of the temperature control system. The temperature is controlled by the temperature probes and the heat transfer systems. The temperature probes will see that what is the actual temperature of it. Let's say it is 38 degrees Celsius. The temperature will be decided based on the microbial strain you are using. Now, if the temperature increases, then there are cooling systems that are available. So, one of the cooling system is the cooling water jacket. Now, you can see it is surrounded by outside the reactors. So the coolants, there are some coolants that are used. They will flow. I'm sorry for the spelling. It will flow and it will bring the temperature back to the normal. Okay. Then you have the pH control system. So pH will be controlled by alkaline delivery system and the acid delivery system. pH probe will see that what is the pH of your fermented broth that is going on, and depending on the acidic or the basic conditions, it will be monitored. And if conditions are acidic and you have to bring it, let's say you are working at the pH of 7.3 and the pH drops to 6.3. Okay, so there will be an addition of the base. Let's say pH has gone to 8.3, then there will be addition of the acid to bring back the pH to 7.3. Now cleaning and sterilization facilities. The small reactors, if you are working at the lab scale pilot scale, then it is reassembled, it is filled and then sterilized in the autoclave. But what about those huge big reactors? Okay, so they are sterilized internally. That means they have internal sterilization that is available, and the process is usually automated to minimize the human error. What are the applications of the stirred tank reactors? Okay, whenever you require the mixing of the cell, you will need the mixing, so it will provide the efficient gas transfer, because you have seen that it is breaking the bubble, so all the gas is transferred. It provides the good mixing. You have learned the concept of homogeneous mix. Okay, they are usually applied in the wastewater treatment. And that's all for this topic. If you have more questions, then you can email me your questions on my mail ID, hargavitrivedi.ljs.lginstitute.edu.in. Thank you. Thanks for watching.